Hello guys, that was a new entrance for me. Today's video, I really wanted to talk about, I'm just gonna settle down here, habit swapping, which is something that I've went through for years, so I think I'm sadly an expert in this talk. But this is kind of where you have a habit that's maybe uncentered from God's pure light, and you just cycle through these different habits. Like you find something else, maybe a little bit more romanticized. Oh, it's not as bad, but it's still not connected fully to God's light, or you give it way too much emphasis in your life that it doesn't deserve. The only thing that deserves that emphasis is seeking pure light, finding pure light, really. But an example of that is, I would say for me, whenever I was younger, I played a lot of video games, and like maybe I'll get bored of one video game and switch to a different video game, or I played video games too long and suddenly I want to watch Netflix. Sorry, I'm just still kind of gassed from that intro and talking pretty fast. Let's just listen to the crows for a second. Yeah, they moved whenever I called back, so yeah, I don't know. Or to get back into the talk, it doesn't have to be necessarily that, but it could be just switching from obsession to obsession, really. For a while, I was obsessed with consuming movies, which I still want to create movies ultimately, but I was obsessed with consuming for the sake of consumption and entertainment, where back in the days I had like a letterbox. I used to try to like tally up how many movies I can watch in a year, and I took pride in watching over 100 movies, which that's a lot of time, and that's a lot of time that is not grounded, not centered in the pure light of God, because quite frankly, most of Hollywood, most of the movie industry is not. You gotta dig really deep if you're gonna find something that's somewhat aligned, and even that, the best way to find alignment is through the source, through directly seeking God, not through secondary sources like that, although you can find movies that do have good values, do have good morals and such, but it's kind of few and far between. Sorry about that noise, guys. And I just wanted to film it outside today. It's quite nice. They're kind of sliding all over the place. Like me right now. My consciousness is just sliding all over. I have no clue where I was just at a minute ago. Blah 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 blah. But yeah. So it was movies for the longest time, tallying up as many as I could, and then I kind of realized that that's not the best. I started locking in and started grinding, but like, everything has place with balance, right? You can connect some of those things to God, like I mentioned in my last video. There's a way to connect it to God, but not all of the. You have to be very strict about what you're consuming. Same goes for music. So then I hopped to music. I was obsessed with that for a while, and then recently it was books. I swapped that obsession, and I viewed it as better than the last obsession, but it's still the same obsession, and it still goes back to the same thing. I don't know if it's trying to fill a void or what it is inside, but yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people could probably relate to, is jumping from one thing to another and just like not giving themselves quiet time, or not being okay with doing nothing every once in a while, like always having to do something, have to fill the time, have to fill it, and that's not healthy. You got to have some self-reflection time, some empty time, some quiet time, and you don't need to always be doing something. And yeah, because whenever you're always in that state of like seeking something, then you're drawing yourself away from God. But like, how do we fix this? I know that's like okay for some consumption that is aligned in balance, right? But how do we hold ourselves accountable to ensure that we're staying there? And I guess that's just really like harsh self-honesty. You got to be really there in the moment, and like sometimes you glamorize those obsessions in the moment, but you got to like realize the bigger picture with those things, and how they, bar none, are not attached to God to the highest degree. You can argue that like, depending on what it is, it could connect to God somewhat, right? But the deepest way to do that is through you directly, through prayer, through that. And if something's distracting you and you're obsessed with it so much that it's preventing you from getting as deep into that stuff, and you're almost like giving way too much emphasis on like that obsession itself is God, it's not good. And you kind of got to hold yourself accountable and just recognize that, and fall back in alignment, and give that thing its place, and hold it in its place, and have the integrity to keep it in its place, and not let it grow beyond that place, because like I said, some of those things are fine in moderation, or if they're in alignment, but it just can't be the sole thing that you are attaching yourselves to, and it's like a drug that you need in your life, something like that, something that you view it almost as like life wouldn't be the same without it. That's not a good thing, because the only thing that is like that is God. Life couldn't be life without God. Life could be life without movies. Life could be life without books. Life could be life without all of those things. But at a source, the only thing that life couldn't be life without is God and pure light and authentic truth. And you got to kind of hold that. And anything else comes second, and you got to prioritize that first. If you notice this thing is dragging that down the peg for you, then maybe it's time to hold yourself accountable, acknowledge that, and try your best to keep it in its place. That's all I can really say. Yeah. Boop. And so it is.